Ladies and gentlemen, it's free for all night. Meet our exciting panelists straight ahead on Night Talk.
Studio A, here's John McIntyre.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. We're live and in color from high atop Television Hill with executive producer Scott Jonesy Jones in the control room, along with the artist formerly known as J.C. Smith, and Sal, the guy from New York, Machota, pointing the camera at us this evening. Meet our exciting Night Talk panelists for the another wild and wacky free-for-all. To my immediate left is Rob Rodgers, excellent cartoonist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. To his immediate left is Jeff Habay, take a walk on the wild side. Republican from, he's only been hearing that since he was 12 years old.
4 years old.
4 years old. Republican from Shaler, right?
Right.
And, well, I guess that goes without saying. That's almost redundant, isn't it?
Republican.
No, it's heavily Democratic, Shaler.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And, of course, the lovely and talented, wonderful and exciting Lynn Cullen, who is not only a talk show host in this here particular station, but also on WPTT, the radio.
I'm the only one who you didn't say to the left of, and it would have been absolutely fitting to the left of Habay, and you didn't say it.
Nobody's to the left of you.
Yeah, that's right. There's nobody over there.
And inevitably we'll talk about probably Kosovo and Colorado, but we also want to talk about stuff that's a lot more fun. I don't know, like they tried to tell somebody they couldn't breastfeed in a bookstore in California, and this woman is hopping mad and she's suing. And local politics and yibbity yabbity yibbity. Why don't we just take a break, shall we? And get to that. Also, we'll feature some of Rob Rodgers' actual cartoons and Marilyn Manson lyrics. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us for Night Talk Free for All Night.
Night Talk is brought to you in part by Coffee & Co., the Roof Guys. Night Talk is sponsored in part by Bear of Pennsylvania.
Back on Free for All Night with Rob Rodgers of the Post-Gazette, Jeff Habay of the state legislature, Lynn Cullen of talk show fame. So let's don't start right out with all the depressing stuff. Let's talk about the lovely and talented Gloria Steinem, who, by the way, was a guest on Lynn's 10 a.m. PCNC program earlier this week.
Do you know how old she is?
No.
I was stunned. I was reading, preliminary data on her, so I wouldn't, appear as out of it as I usually am. And it said, graduated from Smith College, 1955. And I said, impossible. Impossible.
She graduated in 55 from
college.
Wow.
I said, what was she, 6 years old? What do you mean 55?
Yeah.
I had her pegged for what, about 57, 58
right.
or something.
So how old is she?
Yeah. She's 65 years old.
Huh.
Did you see her?
No, I did not. Did she look great?
Oh, well, yeah. Excuse me, I'm spitting. For a 65-year-old woman, she wouldn't spit probably. For a 65-year-old, no makeup, thin.
Yeah.
It's the bones, I think.
Right. Must
Yeah,
be in the
that's
genes.
smart.
It's all hereditary. Well, apparently, among the things she said this week in her wonderful speech in Pittsburgh was that we should raise our sons more like our daughters.
That's true.
And I wonder what you thought of all of that.
That's whole people.
So it doesn't mean we were going to raise a bunch of, dress-wearing sissies or anything.
Militant cross-dressers wearing 4-inch lime green pumps.
I don't want to get into
I can tell I'm not even going to deign to discuss
No.
this with you.
We can discuss it seriously. But no, apparently, and as I understand it, I only read in the paper, she had said that we have convinced many people in the country, if not the majority, that we need to raise our daughters more like our sons, and that we need to teach them to be assertive and go for what the gusto and get everything they can and deserve equal treatment,
Well,
et cetera,
maybe
et
if
cetera.
our sons played more with dolls instead of guns, maybe they wouldn't have all
They might
these
be a little bit
problems.
better off.
Well, at least we're not a place where the men are men and the sheep are nervous, so at least let's look at our counter
I used to live in North Dakota, though.
May I inject
Absolutely.
something serious here for a moment?
Please
Having
do.
spoken to Ms. Steinem myself about this very thing.
Personally.
Yes, personally.
Did you spit on her?
Probably. I don't know. You know what? I think you said you had a tooth pulled today.
Yes,
I
I had
think
a
as
tooth
you
pulled this
age,
morning.
things start happening here with dentition.
Really?
And, spit escapes and all sorts of vile things happen.
little poly grip ball.
Yeah.
Nose hairs.
Nose hairs, things
Ear
like that.
hairs.
Stuff, hairs sprout out of places you didn't know, and they're 20 feet long. You're dragging them. You don't even know it. You don't even know where they come from. It's weird.
Well, you're young,
Let
aren't
her
you?
go.
Yeah, I think it's from an American werewolf in London. I think that's where that comes from.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But you're only 20-something, are you? Are you
Well,
30-something?
I've...
What are you? You look like 12.
Just had my
as you pointed
13th
out.
He's
birthday.
wet behind the ears.
I will be 33 next week.
Oh,
No kidding.
man.
Yeah.
And Rob?
It's that Dick Clark youth cream.
39.
All right, now I'm an old man of 41.
And and I'm the oldest. So listen to your, your elders.
All right, and you were going to inject something serious about Gloria.
What was it?
Gloria's son, we need to raise him more like the daughters.
Here's
Sons
what
more
she
like daughters.
pointed this out, and this is so true. Okay, in the wake of, it's always the wake of, in the wake of Jonesboro, the wake of Littleton, yada, 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 yada. We always have these hand-wringing, questions. What is happening to our children?
Right.
She says, we're posing the wrong question. In every one of these cases, it's not our children, it's our sons. What is happening? Oh, the serial killer, and it's not just our sons, it's white males.
That's true.
It's white males. She points out that they enjoy the two, cherished positions in this culture. Whites are dominant, males are dominant. And that when you raise white male boys in this supposedly, dominant culture where they have this sense of entitlement and this sense of dominance and power, and then they just turn out to be a regular schmo like anybody is, and they don't feel powerful and they don't feel dominant, some of them go nuts, right?
I agree with you, but I just wonder...
There's a lot of truth in what she said.
I wonder sometimes if power corrupts no matter what color you are and what sex you are, and that white males, you're right, either took all the power, were given all the power, or somehow ended up with most of the power.
Well, that may be true, but so
the few women I've worked for example...
They're awful.
Let's see, are there any here? No. I worked for a white male here in Brooklyn. That was a great guy. They often end up just as evil as the men. No worse, and certainly no more incompetent.
Because they rose to their power in a totally male hierarchical structure. If those women want to get ahead, they got to be, more male than the males. Some of them don't. Some of them.
Are you guys ashamed of yourself for being white and male, by the way?
I am.
You should be.
I am. But I thought this would be a good time to pull out a cartoon that sort of deals with that subject.
Here comes a cartoon. Let me hold it up, and we'll get it. Yeah.
This is Rob Rodgers. One that I did recently.
Personal work
about raising sons. Here's a father looking in on his kid, and he's saying, "Boys will be boys." And of course, he's building a bomb, and he's got all of his weaponry laid out on the bed there. And
so does that mean, as I contend, that really, if you're going to blame somebody, and we have to blame somebody because you have to play the blame game after this happens, the parents are mostly to blame?
I would say at least that they are partially to blame in this case because the agents, the FBI agents, went in and found all of this paraphernalia in the house, and you would think that if these parents had any clue what their kids were up to, they might have seen it.
Excuse me, may I inject another note of reality here? Remember back to your own adolescence.
Right.
Did your parents have a clue?
They never went.
Well, we weren't building an arsenal.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the very nature of adolescence for most, I think, is to be almost separate from parents, hide your real self, or the excursions you're making off into dark corners of your psyche, and all of this. I think it's maybe being a little harsh to say that parents should know.
No, but I'm not talking about the personality differences.
But
that he's got gunpowder in his room, and he's got pipe bombs in the garage. I mean, come on.
In plain sight.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, in some of these other cases, like Jonesboro, where the kids went and they found the gun somewhere else and they took them. I mean,
wasn't that from Grandpa's house?
Yeah, it was. Actually.
He was a white male, I heard.
They're all white males. They're all white males.
Hey, I got somebody else we can blame, though. According to the Associated Press tonight, the sheriff's deputy who was stationed at Columbine High School had been keeping an eye on gunman Eric Harris for about a year before the massacre. Have you all heard this? I think it's today's news. And the Denver Rocky Mountain News reports that Neil Gardner, the sheriff's deputy stationed at Columbine, received a report in March of '88 that Harris was detonating pipe bombs and talked of committing mass murder. Well, we've all heard about the report that they received early from the concerned parent. The newspaper obtained a copy of a suspicious incident police report sent to Gardner based on information that the Columbine parent Randy Brown had filed with the sheriff's office March 18, 1998. Also, he posted something on the internet, which apparently the sheriff's deputy was aware of, that said, quote, "God, I can't wait to kill you people. I'll just go to some downtown area in some big expletive-deleted city and blow up and shoot everything I can." So maybe we can blame the sheriff's office instead.
Well, I mean, they were saying that they really couldn't have arrested him because he didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything illegal.
Well, that is true.
It is true.
I mean, except he was being, you could just write it off as a jerk teenage boy. blame the trench coat manufacturers. Have you noticed how many? Have you noticed how many schools are banning trench coats?
Right.
It's like, you know, people flailing around, just desperately trying to pin it on somebody, so we all can go. Whew, well, there had nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with me.
Right, nothing to do with me. I'm fine. Let's get on with our lives. So, I mean, it's.
All right, should I take a break right now, Jonesy Jones, in your esteemed opinion? Why not? Now let's take a break. Back on Night Talk Free for All Night. More Colorado obsession. We'll get to Kosovo. We will get to some lighter, fun stuff as well, like Marilyn Manson lyrics when we come back.
Night Talk is sponsored in part by Paramedical Sales and Rentals. We help take better care of you. Talk is sponsored in part by R.A. Mayo.
You are looking live at some more of Rob Rodgers' fine cartoon work for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Lynn was talking about trench coats and banning them right beforehand. Rob, you want to describe this lovely cartoon for us?
Yes, these are all of the white males, since we're on that topic, worshiping the almighty gun, and one of them saying that massacre in Littleton was tragic, huh? And the other one saying, yeah, they better start banning trench coats.
Yep. Excellent point as always, sir. And who else was I going to blame for this? So we blamed the parents and we blamed the sheriff's deputy. Oh, we haven't blamed Marilyn Manson lyrics yet.
No, we haven't.
I don't even know, has it been proven that these trench coat guys actually did follow Marilyn Manson?
At first they were
or did
saying
people just started speculating right away and it became part of the story?
At first they started saying that they did, that they were following in that crowd, but then later I saw a story that said it hadn't been proven, that these two particular guys were listening to them. But maybe other trench coat mafia
Everybody uses this for their own, everybody's agenda. The gun control people are going, they see opportunity here. People who want Marilyn Manson to get his lip zipped, they see opportunity here. Two congressmen have come out, one from Pennsylvania and one of those House managers, Rogan, or is that his name, Rogan from California, have come out and they want school districts to be able to drug test students to help get control of this violence. And these guys weren't on drugs. Yeah, but these guys weren't on drugs, nor was the kids in Jonesboro, Paducah. It has nothing to do with it, but they see an opportunity here to get something done that they, I just think a lot of people...
Although one of them, I believe, may have been on antidepressants, but it was legal and it was prescribed.
Well, that's not the kind of...
Yeah, that should have kept him from doing what he did.
Presumably. You have the Marilyn Manson lyrics, do you not, Mr. Rodgers?
Yes, I have one that's from an album called Portrait of an American Family, and I'll just read you this first paragraph from a song called Lunchbox. It says, "On we plow, the bug bully try to stick his finger in my chest, try to tell me he's the best, but I don't really give a good goddamn cuz. I got my lunchbox and I'm armed real well. I got my lunchbox and I'm armed real well."
Aha, it is Marilyn Manson's fault. Let's find him and kill him.
I think the interesting thing about Marilyn Manson, though, is if these kids really studied him, they would realize that he's working out his aggression through his music, not by going into the schools, and because he was an outcast too, and so actually if he's going to be their idol, then they should learn to use music or words or poetry or something like that rather than
absolutely. Lynn mentioned gun control. I'm absolutely for all of the gun control measures that the president outlined. I think they may not help one iota. I just don't think they can hurt at all, and even if there's a tiny little possibility they might help, what the hell, and nobody's going to lose their Second Amendment rights, and everybody can still have a gun and shoot deer to their heart's content.
May I point something out? That, the fact is these two killers engaged in seriously aberrant behavior. On the day they did this, how many millions of kids went to high school in America? Nobody pulled out any guns. And all this wrenching, oh, our children, oh, our this, oh, the this, and that. It was two crazy kids. I really, the disquieting thing here is we can't stop things like this. We can't, because there are people who have screws loose, who have no ability to control themselves. We can't identify them all the time in advance. And I must say, though, they do have in our country extraordinary access to weapons of mass destruction. Yes. So maybe we do need to look there, but even so,
Jeff, you're a Republican. You must be against gun control.
Well, when it comes down part of a vast right-wing conspiracy, me and Newt on the line every night. Calls me and Shaler all the time.
You call him Nudie? Never mind, go ahead.
Well, anyway, I wanted to say that I lived in Washington, D.C., where I went to college, and they had the most restrictive gun control laws in the nation. And really, that wasn't a panacea. I mean, you had a lot of law-abiding citizens that couldn't own a gun. You had the criminals there that had the access to the weapons anyway.
Why couldn't the law-abiding citizens own guns? Of course they could own guns.
Well, in many situations they couldn't. You know, when they were driving throughout the city, and, you know, of course, D.C. has a lot of security provisions because, you know, you have, you know, the federal government, and a lot of things are there. They have special rules and regulations there. But, you know, you felt really uncomfortable when you lived down there. I lived only about 2 blocks from what they call the line of death, which is straight north of the White House. They have 16th Street, which runs north of the White House. On one side, you would have 520 murders a year, and the other side, only 15 murders a year. And I lived only about a block and a half from that line.
So you would have felt a lot better if you were packing a rod 24 hours a day?
Yeah, I don't own a gun, but I would defend somebody's right to own one to protect themselves.
Oh, so would I.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like concealed weapons and everybody in the Wild Wild West, but I don't mind people owning them as long as it's in the Constitution and all.
I just think the thing that runs through all of these tragedies is the fact that all of these kids had access to guns. And I think that no, it's true that if you got rid of guns, they would still find them somehow. But I think that when you have a situation like this where the kid can actually have a friend go buy the guns for them and then just take those guns into the school, I mean, then you have a situation that is much more facilitated. And I do think that there would be less deaths if they had to come up with some other way of killing people, you know, if
I
they
just
didn't
don't
have
see
the
the downside of more gun control other than a slightly larger hassle when you want to buy a gun.
Yeah.
Right, inconvenience, exactly.
Well, you see
And I think some things should be an inconvenience. I mean, if you need this gun today, I think then there's a problem.
You might
if
need a cooling off period, right?
Yeah, if you can't plan ahead for a hunting trip, then there's a problem there.
Okay.
You know?
It shows, though, the porousness of the gun control legislation we have. I mean, to find out that an 18-year-old girl can walk in and just, you know, purchase 2 or 3, you know, of these things and walk out the door. You can go to a gun show. I didn't realize there's no background checks at all.
I don't understand that at all. But why bother with the background checks elsewhere if you don't have them at the gun show?
So how the NRA gets off squawking and screaming like, oh, they're you know, having to bear, excuse me, this onerous, you know, the control, when obviously there's next to none.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they do, and then they will fight tooth and nail to defeat any and every gun control presentation.
They're still strong politically.
And they also refused, and I don't know if this is a serious issue or not, but they won't cancel their Denver convention.
Right.
And the mayor and most of the city officials there are calling for them to cancel it. They're scaling it down.
They scaled it down to, yeah, I know, that's ridiculous. I have one question. Did anybody read where the one gun that was sold to one of the kids by a gun owner in Denver somewhere was, or gun shop owner, was the one that was banned by the Brady bill?
The tech one.
Yeah, the handgun.
Tech 9, yeah.
And that they were going to arrest the gun owner, the gun shop owner, but then they didn't do that. They didn't arrest him.
I do. Part of what I was reading tonight indicates, and I don't know if you've heard this, that there was some. No, never mind. That was there's so much to follow here. There was a hardware store owner who says he sold them nails.
Which isn't true.
And yeah, it turned out not to be true, so they arrested him not because he was a part of any of the death, but because he lied for some reason to the police, saying he sold the kids nails. He misled them. I don't know why. You get good publicity out of that?
Like getting
people buy more of your nails?
Free advertisement.
I just don't understand why he would mislead the police.
But the guy you're talking about, Rob, I think is expected to surrender with his attorney and whatever.
Okay. So they're in negotiation.
No, they're looking for heads. Heads have to roll here, so they're going to have to.
All right, let's take a break. We've almost beaten this to death. Maybe we'll hit on Howard Stern, and then we're going to get to breastfeeding in Glendale, California, and why you should or should not be able to whip them out. You know.
Are we still talking about guns?
Yes. Back in a moment.
The official transportation provider of Night Talk is Pittsburgh Limousine, the one clear choice in transportation.
He obsesses on lesbians a lot. He obsesses on sex, whatever. Is there a place for that? I don't know. You tell me. But this week he said that one of the guys who killed some of the people in Littleton, Colorado, should have had sex with some of the girls before he killed them because they were really good looking. Oh. So I actually thought that was way over the line and horrible, and it wouldn't bother me if he was canned.
Let me tell you some other things he said recently. When told it was Yom HaShoah, which is Hebrew for, I'm not sure, Day of Remembrance or something, where he was talking about how some guy gave $10,000 to the Kosovo refugee effort in in memoriam to the victims of the Holocaust. And Howard Stern made some remark about, I think maybe I'll donate an oven. And then went on to make... Now this bad taste, it's like Toys R Us, bad taste is him. That's what, that is what it's about. What's amazing to me is when I took off after him on my radio show, people I know to be good people, they call up. They admit, it's sort of like an AA meeting. My name is so-and-so. I listen to Howard Stern. I like Howard Stern. Lynn, I listen to Howard Stern and I listen to you. What does that say? I don't know. But people cut him. You know what I think he is? I think he was a loser in high school. I think he was one of these people who... And this is like revenge. It's another aspect of Revenge of the Nerd. And I think all the people who like him, frankly, are people who get off on somebody saying all those things you aren't supposed to say, and they don't have the guts to say, but they are thinking. He expresses the bad part of... Otherwise, I think, generally speaking, okay, good people. So maybe he's a good release for these people. I don't know. I think it's extraordinarily pathetic.
Well, they have taken him off the air at one, at least for a while.
He'll never go off the air. He's golden.
No, I agree, yeah.
He brings too much money into CBS.
The Pittsburgh Tribune-Review does report, if there's any small consolation, that his ratings are slightly down in Pittsburgh as of the last ratings book. That's what it says.
I'll tell you, people really thought it was offensive. They put the screws to CBS affiliates in their hometowns. If you own stock in CBS, which is burgeoning because of Howard Stern and people like him, you'd put pressure on there. But people like to squawk and scream and then cash their dividend checks.
All right, let's talk about breastfeeding. Borders Books. 2 managers in Glendale, California tried to get a woman to stop breastfeeding, saying, hey, don't do that, cut that out in here. Now she's suing them because California law apparently says you can breastfeed in public. They have apologized. She feels that's not enough, that it's just plain wrong.
Well, the baby wanted like a skim latte, and she wasn't offering him that, but they have coffee there. So
they have Starbucks in some of those Borders Book places.
Well, I think Barnes & Noble has...
No, that's you're right.
You can't
She's suing them for what?
She's suing them because she claims they violated the California state law, which says you can breastfeed in public.
Okay, so she's suing them for what? Some kind of monetary damages?
I assume so, yeah. I can't imagine she would want anything else other than money, because why does anybody sue anybody?
Well, I say a plague on her and a plague on them.
On both of them?
Yeah. I am sick and tired of all this litigiousness. Give me a break. They apologize. Go away and shut up and feed your baby somewhere. Honest to Pete.
Yeah, but if you can do it in public, don't you think you'll be able to do it in the bookstore?
Yes, and they apologize. She could go in there every day of the week now and, as you say, whip it out and feed the baby. That's fine. Let her
Why
do it.
are Americans afraid of breasts? Why do they fear breasts?
Because
the breasts are coming. They're afraid of breasts. Or you're not afraid of breasts, are you, Jeff?
Don't spill hot scalding coffee from McDonald's.
That's right. That's right.
All right, and let's.
I don't think we're afraid of them. I think we're just in awe of them, and that's part of the problem.
They are sacks of fat.
Right. So what are we afraid of them for?
Well,
We're not afraid of sacks of flour. We're not afraid of sacks of excrement. We elect them all the time. Sorry, no, it's a cheap shot. We're not afraid. No, I'm excluding present company, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You were saying though, Lynn. We shouldn't be afraid of them, right? I mean, why is that such a big deal?
You want to get into the subject about America's, adolescent fixation on, body parts and our sexual prudery and all that kind of stuff?
That's what I've been leading to the whole night. I was hoping someone would bring that up. All right, well, speaking of that, of course, Pamela Anderson Lee recently had her breasts.
Well, I can't believe I led into that story. But
she had her breasts reduced.
And who would know? Have you seen pictures
Yeah, she still looks pretty large to me.
Huge.
I mean, yeah. Even without the sacks of fat that were within the sacks of fat, she still looks huge.
Yeah.
I saw one quote that said she had her talent removed.
You think she's back with Tommy Lee?
She is back with Tommy Lee, the guy who beat her.
Beat her up, yeah.
And apparently she's one of the idiot women of the world who think that rock stars suddenly will change their ways. Mm-hmm. Jerry Hall keeps taking Mick Jagger back.
Oh, that's not happening anymore.
Well, I don't know. I think that's been suspended. I mean, I know she, for a while she said, I'm going to divorce him no matter what, but I thought, I could be wrong about that, but I thought I heard there was a suspension of hostilities in the Jagger Hall warfare.
Is there any connection between him taking her back and the breast implants coming out?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't always get what you want, right? He sang about that once.
No, that was somebody else. All right, so, but hopefully it won't affect her career, but that's good, isn't it? Because we shouldn't care about the size of anything, including breasts. And Pamela Anderson Lee has finally awakened to that, and she'll lead the crusade so that women will stop obsessing on their bodies and trying to please the evil white males, which it always comes back to.
Until she realizes she can't act, and then she'll go back and get her put back in, you know?
I'm not helping you out here. You keep, you're strong. I see you, so I know.
No, I'm looking at all of you.
Yeah, he's looking at everybody and saying, come on, these are easy. These are lobs. These are lobs.
So to
Come on, yeah, right. It's a Friday night. I'm not helping you.
Why not?
What?
What do you mean? That's an issue, isn't it? It gets a lot of publicity.
Come out
It's in
on
all
a
the
Friday
papers.
night to listen to all this sexist faldy-roll.
What have we said that is sexist?
Well, you're talking about breasts.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about penises.
Let's do.
Okay.
And
Yeah, see, look,
Speaking of Howard Stern.
Pamela Anderson's
What?
husband, Tommy Lee, with whom she is now back, if you've ever seen this bootleg video, which was horrible, of them having sex, he has quite the enormous...
amply endowed.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's the word. I mean, I haven't seen it, but...
I mean,
So what does that make you feel threatened?
no, I mean, that makes me just feel like he's, he's a freak.
Or he's a liar?
But John, how do you really
like that.
How do you really feel? How do you really feel about it?
I wouldn't be sad if I was a freak as
Don't hold
well.
back.
You know what I'm saying? You can't compare. Jonesy tells me to go to break. But if you want, we can talk about that when we come back.
No, I don't. I
right.
think we should,
All right, back it up. We'll move on to
uplift things a
something
little
else,
bit
and we'll decide that during the break. Stay with us.
The official transportation provider of Night Talk is Pittsburgh Limousine. Whether it's for business or a special night on the town, Pittsburgh Limousine is the one clear choice in transportation. Channel 11.
Close.
Back on Night Talk, it's free for all night. You can bring the young children back in the room. We're done with penises and breasts. At least until, like 10 o'clock, and then I don't know what you guys are going to do. I'm going to go home and watch a rerun of Providence from the fine NBC family show. The post office is trying to find an image which defines the 90s in order to put it on a postage stamp, and they've come up with things like Seinfeld or perhaps the Titanic, which what's happening at the end of the decade may be appropriate. Jurassic Park. What about Pamela Anderson? No, we're done with that. Have you guys got any ideas of what perhaps should be on the stamp representing of the 90s, indicative of the 90s? How about Jerry Springer?
John McIntyre.
Why is it? How about Wall Street in some way? I mean,
That's
this
good.
has been the most extraordinary
Everybody said that
run
the
on
80s
Wall
was a
Street.
decade of greed, but you're right. This has been more
something
incredible.
technology-related, internet-related.
Well, Wall Street,
something
you could
like
do the
that.
bull, and then you could have Michael Jordan and
There
Wall
it is.
Street,
Michael Jordan and Wall
There you go.
Street. The bull is...
Michael Jordan, that's not a bad idea, yeah.
It was
Jeff,
the
you got any
decade of
ideas?
the bulls.
That's right.
It
One way or
was.
the other.
And
You
they're
could
so
get-
pathetic now. I mean, not that we have to talk about the NBA. It's so gross. It's so disgusting. Scotty has a Michael Jordan game-worn autographed jersey hanging in his office, Jonesy, the producer. And he's very happy about it, as am I, because we were both former Bulls fans. These owners were greedy. They were idiots. They forced Michael and Phil Jackson, the coach, out too early. And as a result, they're getting exactly what they deserved. I still feel sorry for the players, though. I mean, that's when you go from the best team in basketball to going to the worst team in basketball. The remaining Bulls.
Heck, they rode the wave. They got a
that's true.
thrill next to
They got championship rings.
nobody
Six
gets. Come
championships.
They're still
on.
getting cash.
It's not like Scottie Pippen can't go. They're all
Well,
there.
he won in Houston.
I'll tell you who's sad. The sad part is Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
In Los Angeles.
I thought the Lakers got rid of him too early.
Well, what's going to go on with that person? Not that I care, but
What's going to happen to his marriage?
What is going? It's over. That's over. That's over. But what an... Jeez.
Yeah, he can't act. I mean, he keeps talking about his career as an actor, but I saw a little snippet of some bad
do
movie
it.
he was in on cable the other day.
Yeah, he's terrible.
I can't believe you missed the big story.
What's the big story?
The big story today, I think, is out of San Diego.
Yeah.
Maybe. San Diego State, is there such a school? You were the one who
San
hung out.
Diego
Is there
State.
San Diego
Yes,
State?
there is, Jones.
I think.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The Aztecs?
I think that's... Yeah, they have a good football program there. They honestly do.
Well, I don't know about their
Shouldn't that be offensive to ancient Rodgers or something?
Probably is.
Anyway, go
I
ahead.
think that's their name, though.
The business school, I don't know if they have a business school, or some business majors, final exam time. 1/3 of the students taking the ethics course in the business school at this August university were found cheating on the final exam. 25 out of 75 cheating on the ethics exam.
Is that where Clinton went to school?
Well, I'm sure he could have fit it right in. Isn't that?
Does that say something about the level of stupidity? Because if you were going to pick a class to cheat on, wouldn't you pick another one?
It could also say something about the inability of the professor to have made a dent in the
Or
consciousness
just the state of
the
ethics today.
Or just,
That is ethics. The ethics of
That's
cheating.
or maybe it's an oxymoron, business ethics.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bob Cranmer, as you know, changed his party affiliation to independent. The speculation is that he so doesn't want Larry Dunn to win that should Larry Dunn pull a miracle and upset Jim Roddy in the Republican County executive race, Cranmer will enter the field as an independent just to make sure to deny Larry Dunn any chance, any smidgen of a possibility of victory.
Well, I'm rooting
Does
for
anybody
Larry
care?
Dunn just because
Are you really?
I like to draw Larry. So.
You don't have any Dunn with you, do you?
Do you have one?
No, I didn't.
Well, how do you do it? What
I
is-
didn't bring him with me.
What are the salient features? An overbite?
You really
or
make
a
him
little-
look like
bit of an
a
overbite.
chipmunk.
What, a little,
Yeah, a
well, but
little
he
bit-
does have a little bit of an overbite.
A little bit of chipmunk and
Weak chin.
and a little bit leprechaun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys all see the ad, which we've shown so many times we're not going to show it again, where the Roddy campaign made Larry Dunn look like he was falling asleep, and he looked like a retarded gopher. He looked ridiculous, and he is not that. Whatever else you can say about Larry Dunn, he's not a retarded
I thought that
gopher.
was uncalled for. There comes a point in campaigns where you're running in campaigns. I haven't run a negative campaign in 5 elections, and he can get his message out. Jim's a pretty accomplished fellow. He can get his message out another way.
Yeah, and he's so far ahead. I still don't understand why they resorted to those tactics.
I wouldn't say that. I think it's going to be a very close election. I think Larry's going to eke it out.
Do you
really think Dunn's
Oh,
going
I
to win?
forgot that. You're a Dunn
But
supporter.
now you see, I think that was the wrong kind of ad to show because showing him falling asleep is actually a good thing. It's when he's awake that we're worried.
Well, he works 80 hours a week, That's,
Jeff, you don't really think that Larry is going to eat
Oh,
it
I
out.
think he has
Oh,
a
come on. I know you have to say
I
that because
really
you're a
do.
supporter, but in your
No.
heart of hearts, in your private moments,
No, I look
when you
at
have these
Let's
moments of
not talk
sanity.
about
Yeah, private parts. I thought you said private parts.
No. Maybe I did.
I think you're going to see a very good upset here. I think it's going to be
All right.
a close election. It's going to go well into the evening, and Larry's going to
You
pull it
wouldn't care to
out.
lay maybe a quarter on that, would you?
I'll lay a quarter on it. I'll lay a little more
You're
on it.
And how about Mr. Wecht and Mr. DeWitt? According to the latest poll from KDKA, the race was tightening a little bit. Cyril still held a substantial
Well, it
lead.
has to tighten. It was so the problem with being that far ahead, I would imagine, with 5-6 weeks to go in a campaign, and I'll defer to Mr. Habay here.
Oh, Jeff's fine.
All Jeff's fine. That if you almost don't want that because then the other guy is, of course, going to narrow that gap, and then it's going to look going into the election like he's got momentum, right? Like he's overtaking.
And
No,
quite a
the
fuss
problem-
over. Well, go ahead.
The problem with these polls is you have 1.3 million people in Allegheny County. They take a snapshot of 500 people. I don't think you can accurately read in a snapshot
I mean,
of
I
500
agree. I have
people.
a
In a
problem-
state house district, I think you can. That it only has about 60,000. Talk to about 500 people, you get a pretty accurate read.
But don't they mostly accurately predict whoever eventually wins, even if the margin of victory is off? For example, I think that the polls in the Murphy-Bob O'Connor race were off, and that O'Connor was actually a lot closer.
Right.
But in the end, it's still
Bob
predicted
plays
a
very
Murphy
well,
win.
but they predicted DeWitt will win, no problem, and Dunn and Cranmer win. So, you never know what could happen.
And quite a fuss over the negative ads that the DeWitt campaign is running about Dr. Wecht.
Well, how could Cyril think that was not going to be brought up?
Quoting the judge, who apparently presided in the civil suit over Cyril's allegedly selling body parts when he shouldn't have and mixing private and
Here we go
public
back
work.
to body parts.
Oh, no.
We cannot
Back to the
get away
obsession
from
with you,
body
John. I'm worried
parts.
How much do you think you could get for Tommy Lee?
Take it to the transplant center and hold an auction.
Oh my!
But you're right. Yeah, how could Cyril not think that? Now, Cyril has come out with 3 experts who say that it's outrageous that this ad is on, and say that it's being taken out of context. All the quotes from the judge in the case are being taken out of context. One of whom apparently was on the opposite side of the fence during the court proceeding.
Okay, but he's not. But he's a Cyril Wecht.
But now he's a Cyril Wecht supporter.
But
Yeah.
I suspect that the judges are probably right that the Wecht people have reason to be angry. That there's some distortion of what the ruling in fact said. That things taken out of it. It's always.
Yeah. Apparently the words on the
There's
screen
enough
are
truth on both
verbatim.
sides, probably.
Right. The words on the screen are verbatim, but they're paraphrasing the voiceover. Anyway, back in a moment with our last segment of Night Talk Free for All Night. You don't want to miss it, neither do we. So stick around, won't you? Is free for all night. Let's ask Lynn Cullen to explain her fellow Wisconsinians. Do you call them Wisconsinians?
Wisconsinites, I believe.
Wisconsinites, right?
Yeah. About what?
Have you ever been to Neillsville, Wisconsin?
No.
And lived in
Oh no, no man.
No, I don't remember that one.
Neillsville, the cheese.
Yeah, I know.
The manufacturer.
You know, some people can do the imitation, but you can always tell when it's authentic, like in Lynn's case.
Yeah, see, that's not
I know,
quite
it's more
right.
North Dakota.
No, I know. You're too far something.
I know.
No, it's not quite that pronounced.
In Neillsville, Wisconsin, a man was angry at an ATM and apparently wouldn't cooperate with him in giving the cash he wanted, so he urinated on it. A security camera caught him, and now he's being prosecuted.
And then the screen said, would you like another transaction?
They one-upped him, though, years ago up in, right up the Allegheny River. I think it was, South Buffalo, Buffalo Township.
Yeah.
Where they went and they took a large piece of machinery and just took a bulldozer and removed the ATM machine.
I think they took a forklift
and
and
took it.
got it
Yeah,
out.
forklift.
Yeah, took it
They
away.
took it out, and they found them. They buried it in their backyard. You know, that was a stroke of genius.
Wow.
So peeing on an ATM is against the law. I would imagine so, but it's against the law in regard to what? Exposure or indecent?
I was thinking it would be vandalism, but I don't see how you can be so stupid as to not think that, because don't they all have security cameras now?
Your picture
You
is
can
being
see
taken
them,
all the
right?
time.
I think it's just pissing your money away is what it is.
Yeah, he didn't like the ATM fees, so I figured he'd take it out.
It's just another white male guy.
Having a little revenge on the
Yeah.
national banking system.
The Steelers have signed up Cordell Stewart again,
That's not a white male.
so it's a good thing.
Probably.
But so it's great. So if he ends up being really great, and last year was a fluke, then the Steelers management is geniuses. And if last year ends up being more typical, then they're a bunch of boneheads.
Well, I talked to
Pretty
Terry
much.
Bradshaw today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said, hey, look, he says he thinks that the vote of confidence in Cordell is justified. He's young, and he said last year, my gosh, you had a new offensive coordinator, right, who's now gone, who's been fired. You had Yancey Thigpen. You had the whole support structure that had,
line.
helped
Yeah, the offensive
Cordell, the
line,
line,
yeah.
everything,
Changed.
gone. And
So give him a chance.
he was rattled. He didn't, but he's young and a lot of talent there.
I was a little concerned with the quote again in the paper most recently. That he said something like, "If you're going to cut me, you got to cut the whole team," and because he's big on, it's not me, it's everybody. It's not me, it's all of us. And of course, there's a certain amount of truth to that. The entire team failed, not just Cordell. But I don't understand. I don't understand the purpose of that kind of quote. He's supposed to be the leader. I think he should take the heat, whether or not he deserves it.
He has a little trouble with that leadership role. It
Yes.
again shows he's young. Maybe that's a personality quirk that's going to get in his way. I don't know.
Hey, anybody know what's going on in the Penguins game? Yager didn't play.
22, New Jersey.
Bad news.
How many?
How much time?
12 minutes, 23 seconds.
All right, so you can watch the rest of the show before you switch over. Oh, no, no, it is on television. Yeah, well, never mind. I mean, it's not on television. Yeah, it's not on television. Don't switch. School Superintendent Dale Frederick.
Good riddance.
He's trying to get the hell out of here and go to Mesa, Arizona. Why is he leaving our wonderful city of
He
Pittsburgh?
realized it was a mistake that he'd come. He's in a he's being overseen by a totally dysfunctional board. Totally dysfunctional.
So it is the board's fault?
It's the school board, but Frederick turned out to be a loser too, and he's a loser because that was the only thing this dysfunctional board was comfortable with. The blacks wanted a black, the whites wanted a white. So you know what they got? A Native American. That's why Frederick came in. He's not black, he's not white. I'm serious. And he doesn't have a vision. He's never said anything. That he's no leader. And he could, if he were strong, have told the board, even though he works for them,
I tend to judge
you hired me,
people,
let me go. He never did a darn thing.
I tend to judge people by the very unfair standard of how they do on a talk show. And he came on once.
Oh.
I had to badger him for 6 weeks to get him on. And he was scared to death and said absolutely nothing.
Totally inarticulate. And this is who that board hires. Nationwide search. Duh. But, you know, he wasn't going to threaten any of them,
get-
and now he's gone.
I think
And this board should be, every one of them, out, out, out. If you end up voting, you know, for the school board, and you see a name you recognize, out, out. God, it's your fault. You keep putting these bozos in charge of the district.
I can't get Steven Zappala to come on the show either, and I'm wondering if that means anything.
No, he's capable of
Is he
putting
a worthy, capable DA?
He should be fine with interviewing.
You think?
He's a very good public speaker.
Is
when
he?
I've heard him speak, yeah.
Why won't he come on the show? I say he's chicken. I say he's yellow.
I'll have to talk to him. He lives in my district. I'll have to talk to him.
Does he live in your district?
he
I
does.
have talked to him. I've talked to him on the street. I've talked to his secretaries. I've
should
talked
be
to the
fine
guy
on
who
your
gets him
show.
tickets to the Pirates game.
He should be
I
fine
talked
on
to
your
his
show.
bartenders.
Yeah. He's very personable, down to earth, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know, Chris Conrad is running a Republican write-in campaign, so if he gets blown out, which he may indeed in the Democratic primary, he'll be able to face him again in the fall.
Oh, what fun.
Isn't that something? All right, we're damn near out of time.
Lucky for you.
Third baseman Ed Sprague for the Pirates. He's got 7 throwing errors this year. What is up with that? He keeps throwing the ball into the stands.
It's Marilyn Manson lyric.
You think so?
Yeah.
And he's a white male, by the way.
He's a white male. Yeah.
Big surprise.
You guys got anything you'd like to say to the folks at home before we disappear into the sunset? Mr. Habay?
Go look at the moon. Go look at the moon. There is this huge, huge full moon.
Come up to
Wonderful.
Television Hill and look at it. Great view from up
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Would you like to make a Larry Dunn pitch while you're here? As long as, you know, a little vote for Dunn speech?
Well, I don't want to make a vote for Dunn speech, but
go right ahead.
he's a good man, and he's been out there fighting for working class people for a long time, and hope you
Yeah.
keep him in mind.
Is he any good at math, do you think?
He's good at math.
Mathematics? Yeah.
He's good at
All
math.
right. Rob?
I'd just like to say to our parents out there, keep your kids from watching shows like this and they'll be okay.
Yes, because many swear words have come out of this show. You've said, well, I don't want to go over it all, but
Yeah.
yeah, you said that one, and then you said the urination word.
That's a swear word?
Well, isn't it?
No.
I said damn.
He said,
That's what Beaver's built, though.
that is right.
Well, we didn't really cover that. We covered all right.
Forget the mindset
back in
here,
a moment
boy.
with the commentary. Thanks so much. You guys did a great job. Stay with us on Night Talk.
Good.
Back in a moment. Christian Lee joins a long line of empty-headed bimbos who are willing to take the world, or take the word, I should say, of rock stars that they'll be good boys from now on. Anderson Lee is joining forces with Mrs. Mick Jagger, Jerry Hall, whose philandering husband continues to pledge that this is absolutely, positively, the last time an incredibly gorgeous young supermodel will end up in his bed, the last time he'll sleep with him. No, really. And Gloria Steinem spoke in Pittsburgh this week and suggested we need to raise our sons more like our daughters. Bravo, cried fitness guru Richard Simmons. Steinem also called upon women to perform an outrageous act in the name of justice for women, saying, quote, it's as simple as saying, pick it up yourself. I plan to use that line the next time the check arrives. The U.S. Olympic Committee is searching for an ad agency to clean up its image after being rocked by bribery scandals. Suggested slogans include, hey, they offered me a lot of cash, what would you do? Also under consideration, we promise not to get caught next time. You know, they still haven't fired the head of the International Olympic Committee who presided over all the bribery. Hello? Back here at home, the Post-Gazette did not have absolute confirmation, but it did report the Steelers have signed up Cordell Stewart for a few more years. Until the Steelers confirm it, it's just a rumor, and you know how hard it is to verify those rumors about Cordell. Do you think Cowher will kiss him at the press conference? And finally, Jaromir Jagr had to sit on the bench tonight again due to injuries, but a touching display of compassion. Thousands of Pittsburgh women are banding together, forming an organization called RIG, an acronym which stands for Rubbing Jaromir's Groin. Anyone interested should contact the group president, Lynn Cullen. And that's commentary for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Monday on this program, it's the big debate, Cyril Wecht, Mike DeWitta. Hope to see you then. Have a great weekend.